Well, howdy everybody, and welcome back to Dark Earth Customs. Tonight we are going to be working on this mess. I'm hoping to have a good portion of it broken down so we can actually see what went wrong. Because we know the compression is low. It's not gone, but it's about half of what it should be. If I remember right, it was right around 50 psi. Should be more in the 90 to 120 psi, especially if it's brand new. It should be closer to 120. Most engines won't run down at 50 psi, especially a two-stroke. Now, would I love to take this out and put in another engine, something with more horsepower, something that's a four-stroke and something where I don't have to have mixed gas? Sure, love to. They're not cheap. Even a used engine, whether it's a golf cart engine or something from Predator or any of those companies, you're looking used roughly $500. New can be anywhere from $800 to $2,000. I myself am not that much into a new engine. I'd rather just find something used and make it work, because I don't see the point in spending that kind of money. So hopefully we can figure out what happened here, get more light on the subject. I took my light down when I moved my golf cart. So we'll get some more light in here and we'll start stripping it down and see what's going on. Alrighty, let's go. Well, that's a bit better. And just like I said, I'm not sure how this particular engine comes apart. I don't work on two strokes. As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever have. So this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. Okay, I just wanted to move the camera a little bit. Okay. So, let's start by taking this. Let's start by taking the clutch off. Now, I highly doubt that this is just going to slide right off. It'll probably take a puller. But let's check anyway. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's pressed on. So the question then becomes, is it pressed on in two pieces or one? Take this little bushing and get that out of the way. I don't want to damage that. Thread that in there, and I'm going to go get one of my pullers. All right. So what we're looking at here, I have to drop those arms down some. And we can do that just by taking this bolt out here, and then you move it down. And then the puller arm has a longer reach. I wish I knew a little bit more about these than I do, but you know what? By the time I'm done, I'll know everything I need to know. Now you can see that the tip of this isn't going to mate up very well to that. So I'm probably just going to take this socket, which is flat on flat, and we're going to thread this out a little bit so I can get to the bottom side of this. I don't think I have enough reach to get all the way down. So that means I'll have to start by trying to see if this clutch drum pulls off, or if it'll take both sides off. Almost. Oh boy, that's not very good, is it? I'm assuming that's what these little cutouts for. There is a lip there, but not much of one. I don't know if this is going to work or if I'm going to have to find a different way. Of course, I think the socket that I need for up here is actually right here. Oh, she's just barely hanging on. I don't think this one's going to work this way. I'm a little uneasy about even pulling this drum cover off because I don't know what's inside it. But it doesn't look like I have much of a choice. There's no locking ring here. And without getting this assembly off, there's no way to get this engine apart. So, let's see what we need here. That looks like a 5/16, maybe a 10. Let's see what size we got here. 3/8. Now the reason I'm taking this off is because I'm not sure, since it didn't seem to want to move at all with the puller, I'm wondering if there is there's a, this is what I was figuring, there's a spring inside here. There might be counterweights, but I'm willing to bet there's some sort of lock on this collar that's preventing this whole assembly from coming off in one piece. Now, I could be wrong. It could just be really stuck. But I don't want to break anything either. So, I'd rather take things apart I need a rubber mallet. Here we go. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is separating. There we go. Yep. There is some sort of counterweight on here. Cover, spring. Looks like the spring is fairly equal on both ends, so it's not a big deal, I guess, on which way it goes in. So we'll take that. And these. That's interesting. I don't remember. I should have marked that because it looks like this is balanced. Okay. So here's what I will do. Because I don't want to throw it out of balance and then have to get it balanced again. Because that's just more of a pain in the butt. So that may not be where it was sitting. I'll have to look at the video just to make sure. Regardless, I am going to put a scribe right there. So that's lined up with this hole. Then I'm going to take this screw that came out of here and just thread it in there. And these are just for marking indicators to say, did it come off this way? If not, when I look at the video, I'll have a better reference. That's what happens when you're not thinking. Sometimes you miss things. And when you miss things, it doesn't always go right. Let's see here. Okay. So there's a roll pin in here. Now you guys probably won't be able to see it. right there is what's called a roll pin, and it's designed to expand when you put it into a hole to keep whatever you need in place. So the fact that there's a roll pin right there leads me to believe that this is all one assembly. And the counterweights just work inside the hub. Which means this whole unit should technically come out as I had started to do. So now that we got the cover off, let's try this again, because it's got to come off. Yeah, I don't like that, because that's not going to have a good pulling point without breaking that aluminum. Well, and even there, I can barely get a bite on the pulley. Maybe. That means backing this thing out almost all the way up to the point here. La la la. Come on, keep threading, keep threading. Keep swimming, keep swimming. All the way, back all the way out. Almost, come on, almost. We're gonna back it all the way out and see where we go from there. Okay. Now, I need this bolt here. I wonder if I can make some more space if I remove the washers. That will allow the bolt to thread a little further down and for me to watch what's going on. Sometimes these things are frustrating, especially when the arms don't go where they're supposed to go. Can't get this lip here on this drum is wider than the pulley. And of course there's no cutouts, so they must have some sort of special tool. Well, I'm gonna have to think about this one. I suppose meanwhile I will I'll have to come back to that. I'm gonna have to think about that while I'm working here. Let me go ahead and get the exhaust off of here. Okay. Wow. It is not even tight. Not even tight. You know, I was looking at this when I set it up here. Let me show you what I was looking at. I think we found our problem. You see right here, it's damp, oily. Well, that's the head. This is the chamber. And in between is wet, which means the head gasket is blown. So that's a guarantee. That's a guarantee that's blown there. There's oil here. So the gasket here is crap. The gasket here is crap. The gasket there is crap. So I'm assuming that it seems it would seem that at bare minimum the head is blown. Now, if it blew out the gasket, hard to get into. If it blew out the gasket, I'm hoping that is the case, because then it's just a simple fix. If it did any more damage, and yes, I know you guys are looking at me right now and you say you're using a needle nose. Yep, I am, because I can't get to the bolt. There we go. If it's just the head that's blown, that's an easy fix. That's new gaskets. That's absolutely an easy fix. Then, I'm hoping the piston and the rings are okay. Although I might just order a brand new kit, since I'm already in here and don't want to have to come back in here anytime soon. Why is this such a tight area to work in? This is when mechanics and car guys and gearheads start getting really angry with the engineers. Engineers are good at something. They're good at designing stuff. They're good at making it run. But they're not always the best at accessibility. And most of the time, they're not good at that. So it takes people like me extra time to figure out an option for what they did. Okay. Now this is the exhaust side, and there's a humongous amount of carbon buildup. Looks like I will need a new exhaust gasket also, but that'll all come with the kit. My hands are a disgusting greasy mess. Okay, but next step is let's get this tin cover off. And I'm assuming, and I'm right in believing that all these screws that look like this are all going to be 10 millimeter. Or, no, I mean 3/8. Not 10 millimeter. And since I'm not going to have to go anywhere near here again, I'm just going to put the exhaust nuts and lock washers back on. That way they don't get lost. The gasket doesn't matter because that's being replaced. I know a gasket goes there. And then when we get these out of here, we can put them back in. then back in the head and the barrel, I guess you would call it. It's got different names, this section here that the piston rides up and down in. On a regular engine, it would be the piston chamber. On a small engine like this, with the ability to remove that, it becomes more like a barrel. And it's almost pitch black outside already at, I don't know, what is it, like 7:30 up here? Maybe 7:45. Minnesota darkness. Okay. So this comes off of here. I had already gotten these screws off when the engine was in there. I had already took these out because there was the starter generator that was above here. So I didn't need to take any other ones out. This is just packed with grass. Like they use it like a lawnmower. No idea why. Okay. What a mess. Does this look like a lawnmower, guys? Looks like a regular engine to me. Alright, so we got two plates here, one on each side, that also have the same hardware. Everything's a hammer. Oh, boy, was that tight. And yeah, I might have stole that from Rain Man Ray. But he's a good guy, has a great channel. So I felt obliged in that moment to do that. Come on. You know, it's really fun when the bolts don't want to come back out of the sockets because they're so corroded. It's like they become a different size. Alright, so there's one of the tin covers. This is basically going to be a strip down, a complete strip down. Because not only do I need to regasket it, I need to know how it works. Now you notice the band-aids on my hands when I went and picked up that 390 and the transmission. The transmission was being moved by a skid steer with forks. I had my hands on the transmission while it was being walked over to my truck. Watching, being absolutely careful, making sure everything that could go wrong wasn't going to go wrong. But you know what? Accidents happen, so that's why you always be careful. Skid steer hit a bump. The bell housing of the transmission slipped and started going down. Caught my hand between the skid steer fork and the bell housing on the transmission. Took a chunk of skin there, and on top of my hands. Hands are covered in grease and blood and everything else, and I had no way to do anything about it for 40 miles. So that's why be careful. Accidents can happen. They can happen anywhere. And if you're not in a good area and an accident happens, it can be bad. So you got to be careful when you're doing stuff with heavy machinery or heavy objects. I learned my lesson. Even though I was as careful as I possibly thought I could be, an accident still happened. All right, so what we have on here now, head, barrel, the cover here for the fan that's on the inside, and that fan is plastic, so I'm not taking that off just yet. And what's happening in here Yep. Well, it looks like the piston rings are good. Well, let me see if I can put some light on this. Maybe bring you guys in for a little closer look. Of course, I forgot my flashlight, so we're going to have to see how to do this. All right. Okay. All right. So here's a little bit of a lesson in a two-stroke. I know a little bit about them. Well, I mean, I know how they work, but like I said, I've really never taken one apart before. So this is the exhaust. Right here is the piston. You can see it moving up and down in the chamber. The two little silver bands are the piston rings. And as it moves up and down in the chamber, air and fuel mix. And because it's a two-stroke, air, fuel, and oil mix to keep the piston lubricated and the bearings lubricated. And it looks like everything there is intact. I don't see any big damage to the cylinder, at least not on that side. As you guys, let me try to move this light so you can see. Okay, I think there we go. You can kind of see. You can see the top of the piston moving. And if you look further past that, you'll see the cylinder on the other side. And there's no big scoring on that. I'm going to bet it's a piston ring and head gasket issue that got melted from overheating. And I'm willing to bet that's exactly what happened in this case. Nose is starting to run a little bit. It is probably 55 degrees out here right now. Okay, so yeah, I need to get this drive off here, or this unit off here somehow, because all this is going to have to probably be regasketed in one way or another. Depends on what all of it I can buy. So this has to come off, this bottom has to come off, the fan that's inside here has to come off, the cooling fan. There's other odds and ends on this other side here, which includes the intake, where the carburetor sat right here. But it's actually all kind of hinging on getting this darn thing off. Yeah, it's got some compression, but you can hear the with my finger plugging the spark plug hole. There is compression, but there's just not enough compression. So, oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness. Did you guys just see this? And that. Wow. All right, let me show you guys what I found. This is the top of the head. This is where the spark plug goes. This here, this head sits on top of the barrel. In between, I said, is the gasket. The gasket keeps the explosion in when it fires. Every fire, there's a gasket, and it all is compressed together at a certain torque yield to make sure it doesn't blow apart or leak or cause other problems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 are supposed to be torqued to a certain value. Does that look like it's torqued to you? These are loose. Wow. This is a really big problem. And the bigger problem is that it wouldn't have mattered if I found this earlier. I might have been able to torque it down. I might have been able to torque it down to where it's supposed to be. But the fact that it wasn't torqued correctly meant it wouldn't have mattered. It would have still leaked. Oh, people. This really frustrates me. All right, well, let's get these out of here. Not happy. All right, so staring at this, that one wasn't even tight. It just took a tiny little, wow. All right, so staring at this head from this position, these 3 are on the bottom right, and these regular ones are up on the upper left, and of course they are a different size. What a shocker. The question is, what size are they? Because they are not 9/16. Oh boy, and they are not a half either. Huh. Might be a 12. Let me go see what I got. And since they weren't a ½ inch, how did I say that they were a 12? Well, a ½ inch and a 13 millimeter are almost identical in size. So if it's not a half, I'm going to step down a millimeter, and it's a 12. So let's get the rest of these head bolts off. I'm willing to bet they're all going to come out easy. Yep. Not happy, folks. Wow. I am just blown away. Absolutely blown away. Okay, so this is the inside of the head. And yep, wow, it blew the gasket clear out. Okay, sitting like that. Head gasket, supposed to look the same way all the way around every direction. Does that look like the same way around every direction? It actually blew the steel collar completely out. This is steel, a steel gasket. Was sitting just like that. Oh boy, there's no wonder this darn thing didn't run. There was no way for it to compress. Okay, well, that answers that question. And this answers this question. Where do the bolts go? Well, you put them back where they came out of, and then you know where they went. Just like that. And take the one out of the gun. And by Jove, it looks like we found our problem. Well, that'll take some cleaning, because I'm not putting this crap back together dirty. That is astounding. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let me take a look here quick, and then I will show you guys. Need that light again. I should have brought out my light and carry that light everywhere I go at night. Okay. Yeah, this is going to need to be, well, it's not in a serious need of honing, but a good brush through wouldn't cause a problem. It'll get rid of this ridge at the top. New piston rings, new gaskets, and it'll fire right back up. Found the problem, now it just has to be fixed. Alright, so before I cut out for the night, I'm going to squeeze here by you so I can show you guys this. Alright, so we are looking at the inside of the cylinder. As you can see, there is some ever so lightly scoring right there. It's no big deal. I can brush that out with a hone. There's a slight ridge right here. But if you look really closely, you can still see the crosshatch. See the lines that are going from side to side in angles in the cylinder? Alright, that's a crosshatch. That's the way it's supposed to look. Now, I don't know what that little swirl swiggle thing is that's further down the cylinder. I will see if I can get that out with a hone. But as far as I'm understanding here, it looks like that's going to be the whole problem. Is they blew the head gasket clear out of this thing. That is quite the accomplishment. All right, guys, we're going to call this a night. I'm gonna look up online how to get this thing off of here, because there's obviously a way or a puller or something that's made to get it off this shaft, because I can't get into the block at all and regasket it without that coming off. Then here's this plate has to come off, this has to come off, this is for the carburetor. And then it needs regasketing. It needs a head gasket and some other gaskets, and that is it. And I'm willing to put money on, as soon as I put it back together, turn the key on, hit the gas pedal, and she'll start right up. I am stunned. In all my years of working on engines, I have never seen a head gasket blow like this. It literally blew it apart. I mean, that is skill. That is serious skill. So, I'm going to go ahead, order me a head gasket and what other gaskets and pistonings I need. We're going to get this baby put back together and get it on the road so I can have something to toot around on my farm on. Then we're going to get my charger in here. The front end is making so much noise now that it's embarrassing. So I need to get it in here and take that box I got from Detroit Axle that's got all brand new front end components. Get that stuff installed, get an alignment done, and put some new tires on it. Then whatever other projects I got going on, along with the Thunderbird. With this engine, we're going to get something done. This baby's going to go. Now, this engine is from a 1961 Thunderbird. The story behind it is the guy that owned it drove it basically till the wheels came off the car. The car was rotting down to the frame. I mean, he drove his car hard, and in Minnesota, that doesn't take much to do, especially if you get salt on it. But anyway, so the car became unsafe. The engine and transmission came out of it. Looking up the 61 model, which is the first year of the 390, if I read correctly. Of course, this 390, as far as I know, isn't any of the super special models, but they were capable of anywhere from 300 to 400 horsepower from the factory. So I imagine once I clean this girl up and put some new parts in her, she'll be at least 300 horse, maybe more depending on what I can accomplish. So lots of projects coming up, lots of videos to make. I do apologize for having these gaps. Aside from my farm and my day-to-day job, my health plays a big part in what I can and can't do. I do have health issues, and I do suffer from migraines, which is the biggest problem because it stops me from doing whatever I can. So if there are gaps, I am sorry. I don't like having these gaps in my videos, in my channel. I wish I could do more. And I do everything I possibly can to keep these headaches down to a minimum. Most of it is caused by overexertion or strain on my neck. So I will do whatever I can. I just hope that you understand that I'm not taking time off just for nothing. I really want my channel to be something. Whether it is or not is up to you guys. I hope it does. I hope it does good. If it doesn't, that's just that. But that's the reason why you might see gaps in my videos, is if I'm not feeling good, it's time for me to take a break. So now that we're all done with that exposition, I hope you guys have a good night or a good day or a good afternoon, whatever time it is when you're watching this video. For me, it's probably 8 o'clock, 8:30. And I will see you all later.